this curiosity, all the sharings, and that is beautiful.
Yeah, seriously. I think that becomes the safe space for them to explore.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that was so lovely, Anju, when you said, because I was just thinking of the mind of the student who wrote it. And brilliant. Okay. Now, another question along the lines of any moment where, or any incident where you got a feedback and you were so happy you're in the space of making a difference.
That I am really grateful. Those moments happen very often. I suddenly bump into people, and when I'm introduced, they say, hang on, wait, I think my child attended your workshop, and I can't tell you how it's changed my life. Recently, I was at a friend's home, and she had other friends there who I didn't know. And somebody was talking about that, oh, Anju's into sex education. And, probably if you have kids, you can look up her workshops. So there was another mom, she said, oh, you know what? I came across this book and it's a fantastic book. I loved it so much that I bought 50 copies and I distributed to all my neighboring kids. No need for any workshop, just buy them this book. So I said, oh, what's the name of the book? And she said, oh, it's called How I Got My Belly Button. Knowing, I said, okay, do you know who's written that? She said, I don't remember the writer's name, but it's a fantastic book. So then, of course, I went and told her that I have authored that book. So I think when it suddenly comes, like that, without you reaching out to people and asking how you found it, I think those are beautiful moments. In fact, I was doing, so as Antabu, we've also done a play on puberty and safety called Growing Up. I think this, so you were asking me for patterns in my life, right? And you've seen that I've done a whole lot of things, from law to graduation to whether it's FTII or armed forces. So basically, I loved doing varied things in life. Now, when I was doing sex education, I was just doing sex education, right? So then I started looking for interesting formats to, teach and to propagate sex education. So one of the ways I used was a play. So I created a theatrical play called Growing Up, and it's a play on puberty and safety. And it's an educational play, but it's a complete laugh riot. And it's a musical. In fact, we have a kavali on the male genitals in that. And it's meant for kids and parents to, see together. So while we were rehearsing for that play, the actors were all adults. They were all about 18 to 22-year-olds, but they were playing kids. So and a lot of them didn't know, the content, or it was just about puberty and safety, but they said, oh my God, we are 19 and 20, but there's still so much we don't know. I mean, nobody spoke to us about it. A lot of boys didn't know the process of periods, and a whole lot of stuff, stuff like that. So when the first show on our premiere night, at the end of the show, this mom came to me, and she was one of the actors' mother, and she just came and hugged me. She said, I can't tell you what difference this has made. My son started acting in this, show. And I've always wanted to have these conversations with him, but I never could. And now he's like 20. I thought, now I obviously can't have. But after he started rehearsing for this play, he came home and started talking about it. She said it's opened up like a barrage of conversations for us, and we're having such open conversations. And I just want to thank you. And she kept hugging me. I think those are the moments which, keep you going, because sex education is a very, very difficult field to be in.
Seriously, Anju, I think you're an outlier of sorts when it came to this choice of stream of education that you chose, because education is one thing India takes any amount of, but sex education is one space. For me, when we spoke the very first time, you were a typical outlier who went into a space that everybody knows is important, but nobody ventured or had the courage to go there. And you did it so beautifully as a mother. And you saw it from a parent perspective and gifted it to the children who needed it, making it easier on a lot of parents. So now we'll go back and see your entire pattern. And when you're connecting all the dots about whatever happened, are there any stories where you have felt that, oh my God, this conversation opened not one generation? You just shared about a mother and son, but a generation, the generation prior, the grandmothers. Have you got any feedback like that where the grandmother's thought process altered as much? Because there are a lot of questions.
Actually, Rashmi, I have two incidents to share there.
Uh,
One was during one of these talks, which I do, break the wall of silence. And it was for, I think, some organization. So they had parents there and they had some grandparents there for the talk. And end of the talk, this granddad and grandmom came to me and said, we so wish our kids we had heard your talk, probably 30 years back when we had our kids. But we are still glad we were here today because we have grandkids who are like 2 and 3 years old. And we are going to go back and we're going to teach my kid and my son and my daughter-in-law about all this. And we're going to implement all those changes and we're going to ensure that we raise our grandchildren in a different way. So that is very heartening to know that, you're able to change the minds, and it's generation of conditioning that we all have. To be able to change their minds at that age was a beautiful experience for me.